almost the last Sunday in December, and it is the pre-Sunday of this big giant holiday that is happening next week, which is like, how did it get here? Am I the only one that's scrambling to catch up with Christmas? It's like, here it is, and then here it is, and then it's like, oh, that's right, Christmas. So I'm really grateful to have today to share with you, to kind of really just soak that in, and in preparation for tonight's candlelight service too. So this month the theme has been and continues to be, let there be, ellipsis, ... Let there be light and gifts and presents and joy, etc. Today's topic is entitled Holy, Holy. Now, if I had one of those PowerPoint things behind me, you would see that it is spelled holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, meaning whole, holy, completely, holy, the way you usually spell it at this time of season, H-O-L-Y. Because what I want to talk about is the concept that they're actually one and the same. Holy, holy, if you take the idea of the root word of whole, and wholeness really comes from the being hale and hearty, wholeness, well-being, healing even comes from that. So when you take holy, we're going to move it in from being holy into holy, because we have that week. But I'll get to that. Because what I've had to do this week is, as I said, scrambling for Christmas, is try not to get to the place where Christmas is the season when you buy this year's gifts with next year's money. That was an anonymous quote, not mine. And John Andrew Holmes, not to be confused with our Mr. Holmes, said the Christmas season has come to mean the period where public plays Santa Claus to the merchants. And I went, no, that's not what it's about. It's about the holiness, the wholeness of our being, coming to a place and an evening or a week of celebration to celebrate the sacred, which is what we know the word holy to be, sacred, divine. And so trying not to be in that scramble, there was a quote from Abraham Hicks that I resonated to this week. And they write, all is well and you will never get it done. Oh, okay. Suddenly, the entire thing lifted. Life is supposed to be fun. No one is taking score of any kind, and if you will stop taking score so much, you will feel a whole lot better. And as you feel a whole lot better, more of the things that you want right now will flow to you. Talk about wholeness. You will never be in a place where all of the things that you are wanting will be satisfied right now. Or then you could be complete, and you never can be. The incomplete place that you stand is the best place that you could be. The incomplete place where you stand is the best place where you could be. You are right on track, right on schedule. Everything is unfolding perfectly. All is really well. Have fun, have fun, have fun. 'Tis the season to have fun. Yes, and to know your wholeness within a holy way. And there was another quote, another anonymous author that said, serenity comes when you trade expectations for acceptance. So I don't know about you, but I guess I had certain expectations about the holiday season in terms of what needs to be done and accomplished and what needs to be shared and exchanged in a gift-giving and in a festive, sparkly way, as well as all of the things. And part of what's been making me scramble is that it's not anyone else's projection but my own of, oh my gosh, it's almost the new year. I have to get this, and this done. Does anyone else do that? Oh my gosh, it's almost the new year. I've got my list. Look at my list that I wrote. Oh. Being right here and incomplete is perfect. Have fun, have fun, have fun. Okie dokie. So, that being said, I went back to the other Holmes, not the Holmes that gave me the quote, and I went back to our Ernest Holmes, and he wrote he wrote lots of things about Christmas because he spent many years in the ministry doing this, and he talked about bearing witness to the light. And since this month's theme is really about let there be light, he wrote in 1958, out of the darkness of ignorance, man comes at last into the light of knowledge of the nature of his own being. We are indeed become as gods that have eaten of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For we have learned that there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And so we come bearing witness to the light of this truth, which makes us free, because it is done unto us according to our belief. Now, what I liked about that quote is he used a little Bible quote, a little Shakespeare, he kind of put it all together and really is talking about being in the light of who we are that gets recognized perhaps more easily during this festive week and allowing it to be our wholeness from a holy, sacred sense. Again, remembering the two roots of the word, holy, that one being divine, that sanctity that we think of when we talk about holy, as well as wholeness of what we teach and seek and why we come together to be made whole. Not that we don't come in whole, perfect, and complete, but often along the way, the dust and the grit of the journey gets in our way, and we become or feel as if we are fragmented. And so we often find our way, a path to a door of a center for spiritual living, so that we come back in humble knowingness to say, I want to be made whole and holy once again. So we get to look at holiness about a couple times a year, usually around Easter and Christmas, where we allow that word holy to come in our vernacular and our conversations because it suddenly doesn't smack of anything from our old religious backgrounds. And there's a part of us that craves and longs to have that wholeness, to know it. So we come together, and then we have these opportunities with the stories and the fables and the quotes that come up around this time of year to perhaps look at our wholeness or being holy differently. Now, you all know that I am a big proponent of the Science of Mind magazine. I love that magazine. I'm really glad we now have a weekly group where we get to read the rich material that's in there. And I don't know about you, and there's still, I believe, Sherry, there's still some copies of December in there. Great. Because besides having a gazillion wonderful pieces about Christmas, if you ever need anything to inspire you about Christmas, there's an article by Dr. Jesse Jennings, who is one of my favorite minister writers in this movement. And he has a whole story about Scrooge as a practitioner. See, isn't that interesting? And it was like, oh, this was great fun, because he took this story of which most of us are familiar with, A Christmas Carol. He took the idea about Scrooge and turned it into the metaphysical truth about what this character has done for us since 1843 to teach us a lesson about life and wholeness that we may have missed. And I don't want to break down the story for you all the way, because I'm hoping that you will buy the magazine and read it and or watch any number of the versions of A Christmas Carol or Scrooge. My favorite being the musical one, the musical version of Scrooge. How many have seen the musical version of Scrooge? Of course, Linda, my fellow show tune. If I want to talk about show tunes or musicals, I go to Linda George. It's like, what, did you see that? It to me is the most glorious version of it, because it has song and dance and the same wonderful message and some fine acting. So we know the story of Scrooge. We know how he goes through the dark night of the soul right on Christmas Eve after having transformed he had a difficult childhood, the character, moving into that and becoming what he did, what we now equate to the concept of Scrooge and bah humbug. We get a deeper sense of what he is, what he does, what he says, and then he comes to this dark night of the soul because he can't find Christmas. He's not even just scrambling to keep up. I mean, he has sold it and gotten a high price for it. And that yet, Marley comes to teach him a lesson. And so he gets to walk through Christmas past, present, and future, the whole concept. And what is so potent about this story for our teaching in the sense of religious science is that it really teaches the same thing we talk about 51 weeks of the year, which is change your thinking, change your life. And so Scrooge had gotten off his path along the way with life's stuff that happens to all of us, and he went, a little south. And then he decides that it's time to change. And glory be the wholeness that he wakes up on Christmas morning and realizes he hasn't missed the opportunity to transform his own life by transforming his thinking, his thoughts, and his feeling nature. There was one thing that Reverend Jesse mentioned in the article that I had forgotten about, because I do tend to watch just the musical version every year. And there's a scene in Christmas Future where the specter comes in the dark cloak, and he has, at one point he opens it up and he has two scruffy, non-well cared for children under his coat. One represents ignorance and one represents want. And I had forgotten about that from the story, I guess because over these years as an adult, I haven't paid attention to the book, and I've satisfied myself with the fact that the scripts from the movies are, a lot of it, almost direct translations from Dickens' piece. But I think this, either before the end of this year or certainly before next Christmas, I'm going to give myself the gift and reread the book itself because it's poetic and powerful. So you have want and ignorance. And the ignorance is what we talk about in changing. Ignorance meaning not someone is stupid, but that they do not know that there is another way. Even Jesus the Christ talked about that. Sometimes it's about forgive them, they know not what they do. So it's about taking that child of ignorance and loving it to a place of wholeness. And the other child of want is about that coming from the ego of wanting. It's about greed. It's about having that because you're in a desperate stage and there's want, as opposed to what we know innately from our wholeness is desire. Desire, Latin of the Father, the higher order. That which moves through us as desire comes from the passion and the vision of who we are rather than the want, which sometimes can start to happen at a holiday like this. All you need to do, which I try not to do, but sometimes the news comes on when I'm watching television or walking by in the room and news comes on and there are these pictures of people fighting, sort of, in shopping malls, grasping and grabbing for things to get the cheapest price or the whatever the coolest toy is these days. And I don't know. I mean, that all began, I think, Cabbage Patch dolls way back. They had to have that. But I watched that, and that's what the want is. Instead of allowing people to know their holiness and their wholeness, that all things are given unto thee when you know the kingdom of God from within. All else is added unto thee. So it is up to us to clothe, feed, and care and nurture those children of ignorance and want that are within us with the idea and the concept of love and wholeness. Because really what Scrooge talks about is religious science. Being able to change your thinking, change your life, wake up to knowing a wholeness. And it's more than even that. Really, the crux of the story is about balance and order and purpose. Because when Scrooge got back in touch with his desires, when he got back in touch with his purpose for being there, he transformed. It was no longer about the tunnel vision he had, about he felt he had to have everything in greed, and he got so insular that he didn't look around him. And when that began to soften and heal, he remembered his purpose. And he transformed himself with the people he did business with. He transformed himself with his nephew, Fred, and family. So once again, where he was feeling alone and victimized, he shifted from that into the openness, and lo and behold, right in front of him, he had everything that he was seeking. Everything. The ignorance suddenly melted into the wisdom and the intelligence of who he was and why he was on this planet. And the want part suddenly became a desire and a realization that he had everything that he could ever want or need right in front of him all along. But he was ignorant to it because he was wanting what he thought he was supposed to have and get and do. Well, we come to Christmas and we tend to focus on the holiness while underneath is going that bustle, hustle, and bustle of the want, of the expectations that I talked about, instead of allowing the acceptance, instead of what Abraham Hicks talks about, is you won't ever get it done. And where's that thing about uncertain? If you're in that place, you will never be in a place where all of the things you're wanting will be satisfied right now, or then you could be complete, and you never can be. And the reason why you're never complete is because you are not a static being. I don't want to discourage people and go, I'll never get anything done. I won't be complete. Well, I might as well just throw away my list. Well, if you're throwing away your list from that, wrong. However, if you feel moved to throw away your list because you know that you will never be complete because you are not a static being, nothing in the world, God's creation, is static, then you know that you move and change and grow, and there's spontaneity and creativity and flow throughout everything that you do. Then your list changes. The list, first thing is, smile, you're alive. You're reading this list. That's a good thing. Next, have fun. Oh, be of good cheer. Okay. How about that joy thing? Yeah. That's your list. So that while you're in the middle of doing life stuff and work and administration and taking care of family and work, and we start to forget, go back to the list of smile, be of good cheer, have joy. That should be your list. Because the rest of it, when and if you come from that, will make perfect sense. Oh, I have to make this call, I have to type this email, oh, I have to do this project. Rather than, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and this. Then you lose it all. Then you're back into ignorance and want. So instead, is it cart before the horse? You know what I mean. Go to the list of what brings you joy. This is the season where we get to celebrate that. We talk about joy a lot here. Joy is spoken here, here, and here. And if it's not being spoken, then come backpedal and go, okay, I'm looking at the wrong list. Go back to that other list. To be of good cheer. To have fun. And when I'm talking about fun, even though I think she's making fun with it, we're not talking about having, it's not always silly fun, and play is important. It's about enjoying. It's a verb, enjoying what you are given as this gift of life. So that we are returning to the holiness of our nature. So that if there is a part of us that is seeking healing, whether it's physical body temple healing, whether it's monetary healing, whether it's creative expression, purpose, work healing, whether it's a combination of all those, and sometimes I'm sure we've all been on the part of the path where it feels like all of them need healing. The whole picture is like, oh, here, fix it. I'll be back in, 2 days and, I hope it's ready. Call me when it's done. Fix it. We allow ourselves this time of year for that healing nature. And how sweet that I know whether or not you're celebrating Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or solstice. We had solstice this week. Whatever it is that you're experiencing, you know that there are a gazillion people out on the planet joining you on some level. Wow, that helps a lot, because when there are two or more are gathered, therefore so I am. So we are connecting with the holiness and our wholeness with, at least, for the very least, all of the centers for spiritual living. That's a pretty big crowd. And then if you take the other side with the Christian and Methodist and Catholic churches who are all celebrating all this, we too are being uplifted in that. And I believe that's one of the reasons why this season sparkles so much, in addition to sparkle, 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 sparkle. It's because we know that. And why we love candlelight services, because we love the idea of candles and the illumination, and we love the concept of the infant child, Jesus the Christ, the infant child, that Christ potential in its infancy. Because, it's kind of like watching a movie. Or if you watch a television series and you watch the whole spectrum of that, you know how it starts out, and then you're over here at the end, and you know that journey. You know that path, but how sweet it is, because you look back and you go, wow, there was the infant potential of this character, this situation in our life. And Jesus the Christ, wow, we know what that little guy did. Pretty cool. And what that reminds us, particularly at this time of year, is that we have that same Christed light potential. Let there be light. And remember, and I often say this in the candlelight services, but I feel impelled to say it here now too. Remember, it was actually, he was known as Jesus of Nazareth. That was his name. Jesus Christ. Christ is not his last name. Christ means the anointed one, light. He became Jesus the Christ, Jesus the anointed one, Jesus the enlightened one. And he came, as it says a bazillion times in Scripture, so that ye may live more abundantly, so that you could do what he said and did, because that power and presence of the Father within him, the higher order of our nature, Father, is the same power and presence that is within each of us. So that's why I still feel that the child in us, the same child that we thought was interested in Santa Claus and all the toys and sparkles and things really was naturally looking for that same answer, that same quality of God, of that Christ-like potential, the light within us, of the joy and the rapture of, oh goody, what may I express and give and receive in my life? How may I serve? How may I love? That's really the whole idea. That's what the whole Christmas story is about. Now we get to look at it with beautiful carols, beautiful lights, sparkly presents, beautiful poinsettias. There's something magical about it, and I hope we never lose the magic of Christmas. And as conscious, adult, religious scientists, I want us to know that the magic and the sparkle of Christmas rests upon the foundation of this wholeness and holiness of the infinite truth of our being. And whether you're looking at it from Scrooge as a practitioner, or you're looking at it from the story of Jesus the Christ as the master teacher, we get to role model and emulate that. Christmas is for remembrance, to love manifest. The love manifests through our gift to each other, typifies the offering of life, the givingness of spirit to its creation. The hands of the eternal are outstretched through our hands, and heart of the infinite beats in our human breast. But the giver must give of himself, for the gift without the giver is bare. Again, this is Ernest Holmes. It is not enough to give money to a great cause. Only those who understand giving, who give of themselves, withholding nothing. It is not then in lavish gifts that we find true giving, but in the sweet simplicity of remembrance. It's in the kindly thought. It's in the tolerant mind. It's in the gentle act. Love alone can give love. Sympathy alone can sympathize, and only goodness can really do or be good. And then Emerson says, the only gift is a portion of thyself. The only gift is a portion of thyself. And so that doesn't mean that you have to go home and handcraft the gifts that you're giving, because if it did, I'd be in big trouble. However, when and as I choose a gift that may be tangibly wrapped, I am giving of myself through that choice, through the energy of that. But most importantly, I don't have to do it just one day out of the year. Those other 364, I may give a gift of myself by reminding myself and all of you of these teachings, of that smile, of that tolerance, of that compassion, and of the joy overflowing, so that that gift keeps on giving. It is much better than Hallmark or C's. Forgive me. There's an exercise in this month's magazine from Doctors Waldman and Newberg. They're the scientists. And I think even one of them has a picture of himself in a white coat, which is kind of cute because we're scientists, so we know, you know. They talk about something spiritual and scientific every month in a very brief little essay. And this month, I thought it was great because we're all focused on giving and gifts. And they had there's a new study out that says, they could say it confirms that you can train your brain to be compassionate in less than 7 hours by practicing a loving kindness meditation for a half hour each day, and in 2 weeks your life will be transformed. Now they're guaranteeing that. Guarantee. Doctor said so. So if you can train your brain to be compassionate in less than 7 hours, that means a half hour a day, 7 days for a week, within 2 weeks of that, you will transform your life. Well, we all go, oh, I can do that, because what that did is it engaged your brain. Okay, something scientific, give me something practical that I can do. Tell me how to do it, what to need to say, I'm there for it. And then you know, well, by doing that, I open up my mind and my heart, and I'm in that natural state of giving and receiving. So how can you not do this? And by the way, you cannot outgive God. So don't worry about the gift giving. Don't worry about that. What you need to remember is that you are this instrument and vessel of spirit, therefore you are giving as God. So this is what they say, and some of you will find this familiar, those of you who have dabblings in the Buddhist practice or own a Karen Drucker CD. So here's what you have to do. You take a few minutes to deeply relax. You know, we do that every time we do a centering thing. We tell you to take a deep, healing breath. We often ask you to close your eyes so that you don't get distracted by anything outside and you get centered and grounded. Sometimes you yawn or stretch, but what you want to do, and all the secret to that is to be here, present now, to be open and relaxed, because you can't receive anything if you're looking at your watch, if you're thinking about what's next, if you're restless, you can't receive anything. A gift, wisdom, anything. So they're suggesting that you get centered and do that, and you all know how to do that. You've taken enough courses or Sundays here. Then what they say is envision a friend or loved one who has suffered, and then you repeat a phrase such as this: may you be free from suffering, may you have joy and ease, or may you be happy, may you be well, may you be filled with love and peace. So if you know of someone in your life who's struggling with a physical ailment or an emotional ailment or a work challenge, if you go back to as you envision that person, may you be free of suffering, may you have joy and ease, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be filled with love and peace. And then after you've done that for someone that that comes to mind, then you get to do it for your family and friends. Whether it's, two-footed or four-footed or feathered or fur or whatever, you get to say the same thing as you're thinking about them. Then, because you're feeling so emboldened by this process, the next step, and then maybe you'll do it in that first 2 weeks, or maybe you'll do it in a second series of 2 weeks, then you got to pick someone who's been giving you a little bit of grief. Somebody who's been pushing the buttons that you installed, but they've been sitting on it. They have been there for you, and it's like, yes, isn't that lovely? One of those? Anybody have any of those in their life? Oh, I'm seeing raised hands. This is okay. So you're going to get centered again. You're going to breathe. You're going to go to that place, and you're going to envision that person. And then you're going to repeat. And you don't have to make this verbatim, because it's really about the feeling nature, but as you envision that person, may you be free from suffering. Even though you think, well, that person's been giving me suffering. That person's causing me to be angry and conflicted. May you be free from suffering and pain. May you be filled with joy and peace. And do that for a couple of times, especially to get you past that point of, so you're not saying it through gritted teeth, with the open heart. And if you find that you are, close your eyes again, take a breath, become present, know the wholeness of your being, and let the words of God speak that to and through you as you envision this person. May you be filled with joy and peace. May you be free from suffering. And then we got the icing on the cake. We have the kicker. You have to do this for yourself. You must take a breath, open the mind and heart, and you must envision yourself, or at least feel yourself, and say to yourself, may you be free from suffering and pain. May you know joy and peace and ease and grace. Now, if that feels really difficult for you to do for yourself or to envision yourself, sometimes it's kind of hard to think about envisioning yourself. Sometimes it's easier to do it in the third person. So you might want to say your name. I'm envisioning, Duchess, may you be free from suffering and pain. Duchess, may you know joy and peace. It gives you a little bit of a breathing space to work up to the place to where you get to, I know that I am free from suffering and pain. I know joy and peace. And therefore I know it as the gift that I give to each person, because I know it for me. So, this is a perfectly wonderful time right now, really today, to start this practice for 2 weeks, because then you begin the new year completely unencumbered, completely free of struggle and strife and pain and suffering, yours or anyone else's. Because sometimes when we see a person we love struggling, there's that empathetic part of us that goes, we don't want them to hurt. So we do what religious science does. We detach ourselves, know the wholeness and the holiness of their being in that truth, and know for them this Buddhist prayer. And as I said, it's also on a beautiful Karen Drucker CD if you don't know that. So you get to do that for everyone. And then Reverend Christine Jeffers, y'all know who she is. She posted on Facebook, or the minister's listserv, a poem by James Dillett Freeman, who was a beloved Unity minister for many, many years. And she said it was her favorite. And I thought it was a very sweet, short little poem called Your Christmas Guest. Take time this Christmas day to go a little way apart, and with the hands of prayer prepare the house that is your heart. Brush out dusty fears, brush out the cobwebs of your care, till in that house that is your heart, it's Christmas everywhere. Light every window up with love, and let your love shine through, that they who walk outside may share the blessed light with you. Then will the rooms with joy be bright, with peace the hearth will be blessed, and Christ himself will enter in to be the Christmas guest. So we get to, this week, this Christmas Eve, whether you practice and celebrate Christmas really or not, the Christmas guest being the Christ potential. Jesus the Christ, Jesus the light, the anointed one. Allow that, invite that to be, and let that be, let that be your own Secret Santa. You know how Secret Santa is that really cool game that often people do it in work situations where you draw somebody's name and you get them a present. They don't know who it's coming from. And, that's kind of fun. Well, what if your Secret Santa is giving you the gift of the Christ potential? And you kept looking to see, where is it? Who is it? What is it? But if you can begin to allow yourself to know this season, right now, right here, with all of us who are joining in together, that Christmas guest this year, the Christmas gift that is beyond all gifts, I don't even think Neiman Marcus could put it in their deluxe catalog, would be the Christ potential that is within you, that knows of your wholeness and your holiness as one. There was someone else on the Ministers Listserv shared new words to one of our favorite songs. We open with Ode to Joy, and on a candlelight service we close with Joy to the World, because there's that great word in there. And these new lyrics to Joy to the World is, joy to the world, the truth is known, let us receive it now. The message of the one reveals we are the Son, to live in wholeness now. To live in wholeness now, to live as one with God. Joy to us all, God's power is given to live in rich supply. Everyone is free to have the good we see, to live in wholeness now, to live as one with God. Notice I chose not to sing it for you, but you know the theme, you know that. That's what we get to do. And that's how and why we are drawn innately to a service like this, or to a candlelight service at the holidays, so that we may share unabashedly the joy that is within our hearts. That joy which was the gift given at our birthday, as we celebrate the accepted and recognized birthday of Jesus the Christ. We get to celebrate it as our birthday. And how lucky is that? We get 2 birthdays per year. Our own appearance day and birthday, where we can have all the other kinds of gifts, and Christmas, the Christ birthday, where we are given this potential gift, not the potential gift, the gift of the potential, where we are given Christ potential from within that is always there and is never gone and does not get extinguished when the candle goes like that. That's what I want to bring to you this holiday season. We have tools, we have inspiration, most of all we have each other to remind us of this truth, to remind us of the joy overflowing that is possible. Even if, for whatever reason in your own personal private life right now, it feels like joy is somewhere out there. Yeah, joy. Lip service. If you can allow yourself to be whole and open, to know that it exists, that it is your innate potential, and then allow yourself to be free from suffering, have joy and ease, be happy, be well, and be filled with love and peace. And we do this for 2 weeks. We change the brain, change the wiring, and that's the chemical part of it. And as we know as religious scientists, if we set that intention and we put our energy and faith and spiritual prayer towards that, how holy, how holy, how holy, holy, holy. That's the Christmas gift to you, through you. So we're going to move into prayer to seal that. And I'd like to ask the ministers and practitioners, licensed practitioners, to join me this time. We haven't done that for a while. Not only do I like you to see their faces, their beautiful stoles, I want you to know of their gift to affirm and know this for you, as whether it's because you put a prayer request in our healing chest, or whether you sit for a 1-minute miracle, or sometimes you email a prayer request, that these are the people who surround you in knowing the truth for you. So let us begin by closing our eyes. And as we said, we breathe in deeply. We feel the wholeness of our being. And we let whatever wisdom or inspiration or nudging came from today's talk just find its way within our mind and heart where it needs to be. And we take a breath and we give ourselves permission to release any of the lists or expectations, at least for the time that it takes to do this prayer together. You may pick it up on your way out. And I continue to speak this prayer in the first person, mostly so that you can hear it and say it along with me within your own being, but also because, well, we're one. So as I speak this prayer, I affirm and know that greater idea of God is all that there is. The one life, capital L, the one mind, capital M, the one heart, capital H, the one. And it is from that whole, holy being and recognition of the truth that I know that I am exactly all of that and more. I am that mind, that life, that heart. I am one with all of that. I see it in the beauty of nature around me. I see it in the smiling faces of those around me, my loved ones. I see it and hear it and feel it and smell it, that it is there for me always, always. And so as I am one with that, I now open my mind and heart and know, and I just have a collective picture and vision of all the people that I want to love and support in prayer, those who I know are having a hard time, those who are giving a hard time, and I put myself right in the heart of all of that. And I breathe in and I affirm and know that I am free from suffering. I have joy and ease. I am happy and well. I am filled with peace. And as I know that for myself, I know that for all those that come to mind or heart for which I wish to give this prayer. And I know that for this center, for the Chico New Thought Center, to be free of suffering and strife, to be whole and perfect, to be loving and lovable and loved, and to be filled with creativity, purpose, joy, and peace. And as I know it for me, for the loved ones, for the center, I know it for everyone's loved ones and your immediate family or your work or school environment. For remember, I am speaking this as the one. And affirming and knowing that this holy day season is the season where I embrace this, where I accept the gift that I have been given as my birthright to the Christ potential of the capital L light that is within me, that goes before me to shine and make clear my way. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. What a gift, what a blessing, how grateful I am, how great thou art through me and through this life. So let this prayer of joy and peace just emanate and spread throughout the planet to people we've never even seen, to strangers. You could do that loving prayer and blessing to someone in line when you're shopping. May you be free of suffering and strife. May you be whole and well. May you know love and joy and peace. And let that be the rock, the pebble that goes into the pond of consciousness and ripples out to transform the planet as we know it today. Yes, 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 yes. So I sit with that for a moment. Just be in the stillness that is the truth being spoken. Be in the stillness and know that is the truth being received. Be in the stillness and know that they are one and the same. As I give, so do I receive. So that is our gift and our blessing this holy season. And on this holy day, the whole, W-H-O-L-L-Y, holy holiday, we give thanks. Humble, heartfelt, sweet, innocent, joyous thanks. And we now release it into the infinite law, into the creative mind. And we know that it is now made manifest. And together we say, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen.